let's talk about astrology. If you have gotten so far what I have said, and you understand that you as a human being are always influenced by the magnetic grid and that it was designed that way for communication, I would like to reveal to you what is landing upon the magnetic grid that might be that communication. Oh, there's a lot. I'll just give you the one. At the center of your solar system is your sun. Your sun is being patterned magnetically with gravity every second of the day. You cannot separate gravity and magnetics. They are two twins of the same attribute in science, yet to be understood as they relate to one another. Light is involved as well, for it is interdimensional. Any attribute of anything that can be two places at the same time is interdimensional, and light can have that attribute. At the center of your solar system is your sun, and it is sitting there with the planets pushing and pulling upon it as they move around it. Imagine the force of the tug upon the sun of all of your planets and the various alignments that they go through. Imagine for a moment that you could see gravity and the incredible forces of gravity as strings out to the planets pulling upon the center of the sun. It is affected. It is patterned daily, all of the time, every moment. This patterning is an interdimensional patterning of the sun. It changes attributes, it does, because of the pushing and the pulling of the planets upon it. Therefore, you might say that these attributes are different every moment, depending upon where the planets are, and you'd be right. Think of what the attributes of this pushing and pulling do to the sun when the planets line up in a row. Think of what happens when there's what you call the seeming retrograde. Think of what happens with the patterning as the planets move around in these positions that are known to you, astrologers. And so there we are with a pattern in the sun that is interdimensional, that is magnetic, that even affects time. And the sun blasts that solar wind at the earth all the time. Coming at you, the solar wind all of the time, all that time. That is the information of the patterning of the sun being delivered to the magnetic grid of this earth. And if you doubt that, then go look at the aurora borealis. For that is the name given to the light show of the solar wind as it hits the magnetic grid, as it delivers the information of the patterning of the sun. And when it arrives here, on the grid of the planet, that patterning is then transmitted through inductance to your DNA at birth. You get a pattern. Aquarius, Pisces, Cancer. You get a pattern. And the pattern is reflected of the alignment of the planets at the moment of the birth. The pattern is retained in your DNA as a life force that we have spoken of yesterday when we talked about the seeming chaos of the energy in an interdimensional area. It affects you. And so from then on, you are susceptible and changeable with those patterns as they align in your solar system. And that's called astrology. There are those who say, I don't believe this. Did you know that even the gravity without the solar wind affects your DNA. Did you know that? We have just given you information that you are susceptible to the patterning of interdimensional orbital mechanics. And there are those who said, I still don't believe it. All right, I will ask you this. How do you explain the full moon syndrome? Why is it that police forces all over the globe decide to put on extra help on the full moon? And there are some that say, well, that's easy. You see, it's lighter then. And we say, as though it were not the night before or the night after. You say, more trouble when there's more light. No, no, no. Oh, ask the hospitals, they know. Those who clean up the messes and the accidents, they know the full moon is a difficult time. Now go explain that. And I will tell you, it is because, dear human being, you are susceptible to the movement of the planets, even your own moon, which has no solar wind, because it is so close to you. Even that interdimensional tug of the gravity of the moon puts you into the cycles. You are allied with Gaia. You are part of the system. Can you ever deny such a thing? That's science. Astrology is scientific. It has to do then, therefore, with the patterning of magnetics through inductance onto the DNA layers. DNA which is also magnetic. This will be shown someday. Oh, science, they're not going to call it astrology. You're not going to see it on the news. Science proves astrology. They will hint at it. They will tell you about it in their own way. And then there are the astrologers who will smile a lot. And so you see, and they'll say, you say, it isn't evil at all, is it? It's not a cult at all, is it? Now it's science. Now it's okay. That's astrology. Could it be that simple? It's not simple. It's grand. It's grand. Now you will understand, astrologers, why we told you 18 years ago that there would be a difference in the charts that you must rectify before and after to find out what has taken place within the energy shift and the magnetic grid shift between then and now. We talked about a 3-degree influence in your charts between now and the year 2012. Those 3 degrees do not all occur in one house. Those 3 degrees are a culmination of the house shapes opening and closing in a new configuration. Go ahead, do the rectifications and see what we mean. Do the overlays before and after, and you will discover through those clients that you have had charts done on then and now what is taking place and how these are shifting and changing. And the world-class astrologers know that it is changing. Even astrology is dynamic, for it's related to the magnetics. Indeed. Now my partner says, well, that was easy. Well, this next one won't be.